Hey there, Blazer fans, and welcome to episode 55 of The Dragon's Den, a podcast for those who bleed green and gold. Today, I've got a special bonus episode for my summer podcast series, and I'm talking with one of the great guards from the men's basketball program in the mid 90s, Mr. Cedric Dixon. Cedric and I go into a lot of information about his early life, his time at UAB, and his book, and I'll have more information about that at the end as well. So let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Thanks for listening. All right, Blazer fans, I've got my guest here for episode 55 of The Dragon's Den, a former UAB men's basketball guard from 1994 to 1998, Mr. Cedric Dixon. Cedric, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Will. Doing good.
It's great to have you on. We were talking a little bit before the recording. You're kind of one of the players from that era that mid 90s. I haven't had anybody on. I had Janice Ward, Tori Ward's mom, on, but you're one of the few from the mid 90s I've had on. I'm really looking forward to hearing your stories and, kind of getting to know a little bit more of that side of history and some of the interesting transitions from that basketball era. So it's great to have you on, man. Happy to have you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I want to just say, hey, I appreciate you for taking the time out to even have me on your podcast today. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, it's an honor to me. Well, Cedric, we'll go ahead and get on into it, man. So you were coming out of high school. You were, honestly one of the best players in the state. I believe you were the leading scorer coming out of high school. You're from Selma, Alabama. So what was life like in Selma growing up? And when did you start to focus on basketball being your main sport?
Yes, yes. I grew up down in Selma, kind of on the outskirts of Selma. Come from a large family. I have 7 other siblings. So it's 5 boys, 3 girls. I'm next to the youngest. I have a younger brother in our group. But I think when I started to focus on basketball, I would say around 6th, 7th grade. That's kind of when I kind of took an interest to it at that point. But as you know, growing up in the state of Alabama, football is king. Football was my first love, to be honest with you. I think once I had some success in basketball when I got to high school, I think my freshman year, my high school coach at that time, he kind of just brought me in and sat me down and said that I might need to focus on basketball. But I think the interest for basketball, I think it started around 6th, 7th grade at Brantley Elementary School. That's where it kind of started. And once I got to Dallas County High School in 9th grade, that's kind of when I decided, hey, I might need to focus on basketball.
Gotcha. So in my research, I was kind of, I was looking back into, your history and your high school basketball career. And I know, you mentioned you went to Dallas County High School and you got recruited kind of late by UAB. How well
Yes, sir.
did you know about UAB basketball before they started
Mm.
recruiting you? And were any other schools coming after you?
UAB, I knew some things about UAB basketball at that time because it was assistant coach at that time on the staff at UAB, Joe Evans. And Joe Evans was from the Selma area. He was a coach down there at Keith High School. So my family knew his family at the time. So I kind of was familiar with UAB basketball through Coach Evans at the time. And I would also come up to UAB camps, like the individual basketball camps in the summertime. And then once I got to high school, we would come up to the team basketball camps and play, during the summer. So I was familiar with UAB basketball and some of the coaches. I know I would write them letters and different things of that nature, trying to get interest from them. I would write Coach Murry, who was my coach at the time. I would write him letters. I would even write Gene Bartow a couple of letters just to try to get some interest from them or let them know that I was interested in their school. So prior to signing with UAB, I knew of UAB and I knew of the history of UAB basketball due to the fact that, like I said, Coach Joe Evans, who was from Selma, he was kind of connected with my family at the time. I originally had committed to the University of West Virginia. And at that time, they were just getting ready to enter the Big East. So I was real excited about that. I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go to the Big East. So
Mhm.
that was the selling point as far as going to West Virginia. So I was sold on that at that time. But being a young man that's from, Selma, Alabama, the country part of the state, I wanted to stay home deep down inside. Even though West Virginia wanted me and I had committed to them, I still wanted to stay home during that time. And UAB, they did come with a late offer, and I committed to them. I also talked with University of Colorado. I visited them. At the time, former Alabama coach Wimp Sanderson, his son was an assistant coach out at Colorado at that time. So him and I, we had some good conversations, some good talks as well. Auburn talked to me in the end. I think once I signed with you, I had already committed to UAB. Then Auburn comes into the picture, and they wanted to kind of recruit me. But at the time, my high school coach, he told me, nah, just go ahead, stick with UAB. They've been with you. And that's kind of what I did. And I also had some, like Montevallo, University of West Alabama, all the NAIA schools, the Division two schools. I had a lot of those schools interested in me. And I think the knock on me at that time, maybe the reason why I didn't get as many offers, I think it had something to do. I think my height came into question sometime. Being a guy 5'10", 5'11", and they also questioned the competition that I played against at that time. Because Dallas County, we were a 3A school, and it was some, talk about the level of competition that I played against during that time. So I think that's why some of the bigger schools as well kind of shied away. But I think I made a great decision. I think I had a decent career at UAB. So, I feel good about
Yeah.
my decision to attend UAB.
Well, I say it worked out. Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at all the accolades and everything and your stats, and they definitely
Yes,
speak for
sir.
themselves. But so you arrived at UAB in 1994, and the team struggled during your freshman season. But what do you remember most about that year, both as a student adjusting to life in Birmingham and as a player adjusting to a new team?
Yes, definitely were challenges for me, off the court academically. I struggled because I just was so far behind academically. I remember when I got here, I had to take those math placement tests, reading placement tests, and I'll tell everybody now that, I had to start at the lowest of all the classes. I had to take a lot of remedial courses. I had to take math 095. I had to take English 098. So all those remedial courses I had to start at. But I needed those things because I needed that foundation because I wasn't ready for college at that time academically. So I kind of struggled in that sense. But I will say this, UAB athletic department, they gave me all the support that I needed to be successful in the classroom. We had tutors in the athletic department. We had mentors. Also, it was a program I want to say that was in the Hill University Center at that time, and it was kind of led by Miss Betty Duff was the lady name. She was very helpful with like first generational students.
Hmm.
You can go there and get help and get assistance, all the assistance that you needed. And also, I think what helped me academically was I just met some good people, man. I had some good friends who were a little bit more advanced. They were better prepared for college than I were academically. So I just kind of, got to be friends with them. And I just kind of learned the ropes through just socializing with people who were college ready on the academic side of it. And also the athletic side of it, Will, I was I had a good high school career. And like you said, I led the state in scoring. But once I got to UAB my freshman year, I was behind, just skill wise. My body wasn't developed. I wasn't strong. I think I had to learn. My IQ got better once I got to UAB, thanks to the coaches there. Like Coach
Hmm.
Murry, Bartow. I mean, I learned so much just about the game from him, just game situations, how to be calm, how to run a team. Just, I gained so much knowledge from being around Coach Murray, and just it just increased my basketball IQ. Also, Coach Andy Kennedy, who's the current coach at UAB right now, just learning from him as well, just how to shoot the basketball, the proper way to shoot it. Make sure you stay in the gym, get your reps up, get repetition in shooting. So I think being around the UAB coaches, just getting in the gym and just working hard, I was able to close that gap that was there between those other guys that was there. And you got to understand, we had guys from all over the United States that was at UAB at that time, and they were
Mm-hmm.
it was some talented guys. We had guys from Detroit, Leonard Bush, Shante Foreman. We had guys from Memphis, Chris Lee. We had, UAB great Carlos Williams, who was from Detroit. And Carlos probably I always say he's probably one of the better players to ever play at UAB. So, as I stated, just coming in, I was undersized, my body was not developed, and my basketball IQ wasn't where it needed to be. But just being determined and just working hard and just listening to coaches and being coachable, I was able to close that gap. But my freshman year, I struggled mightily off the court and on the court. It was plenty of days when I wanted to pack it up and basically, go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, being the mother that she was at that time, she would just, moms want their kids to be happy. So she would always say, hey, if you're not happy, come back home. But my high school coach, he kind of encouraged me to stay. He kind of let me, make the mistakes, and you're gonna learn. You're gonna get better. Things gonna get better. And I think with him, Coach Allen Shelton, my high school coach, he played a big role in me staying at UAB and fight through it.
Well, your first season, you mentioned him a minute ago. Your first season also saw the addition of one of the other all-time greats, Carlos Williams.
Yes, sir.
His numbers show his greatness, but you know, both y'all get on the team at the same time. How much of a difference maker was he on the court for the team, and what was y'all's chemistry like on the court and off the court?
Mm. Yeah, Carlos was off the court. He was one of he was a funny guy, man. He loved to laugh, loved to have fun. Just an all around good guy. Carlos was. He tragically passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was playing over in Korea, and I think he came home one summer, and he was killed at that
Yeah.
time. But he definitely was a good guy. On the court, you can go ahead and mark him down for 20 points and 10 rebounds every night. We knew that. We knew what Carlos was going to bring to the table. Good athlete. I mean, great athlete. Just a good teammate.
Yeah.
He would always, like in the summertime, he would always get us together, and we would go to different neighborhoods in Birmingham and play basketball. We'd be over in Woodline at Woodline High School in the summertime playing in their summer league. And but that was Carlos' way of, saying that, man, we got to get tougher, we got to get better. So we would go over there and play at Woodline High School in the summer times, and trying to get better. But he was definitely our leader at that time. And I'll say this, and I'll go on record saying this: he's to me, he's one of the better players to ever come through UAB, and he averaged a double double in when Conference USA was at the height of Conference USA.
Yeah.
We had Louisville, Memphis, Marquette, DePaul, Southern Miss, those teams. And it was highly competitive. And Carlos, we knew we was gonna get 20 and 10 out of him each night.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, Cedric, man, you're doing a great job of introducing my next topic, man. So in your
Okay.
sophomore season, UAB
Yeah,
moved from the Great Midwest to Conference USA, and a lot of the
sir.
teams from the Great Midwest came and jumped with you to Conference USA, and you added teams like Louisville, Tulane, Charlotte, South Florida, and Southern Miss. You helped give UAB its first ever win in Conference USA by hitting a late jumper over Tulane on January 6, 1996. What was it like playing in a very good basketball conference against these teams?
Oh, it was. It was good. It was a great feeling because we knew every game, conference game, it was going to be competitive. And that's why I came to UAB. I came to UAB because I wanted to play for a good program, good coach, Gene Bartow, good coaching staff. And I just wanted to play in a competitive basketball league. And at that time, Conference USA, it was a top five, probably a top three or four conference in the country at that time. I
Mhm.
mean, it was some good teams. They had good coaches there, good players. We got to go on the road to Louisville at the time. Went to Tulane, Memphis, DePaul, and Chicago.
Mhm.
We got to play in some pretty good arenas, and it was a very competitive conference. It was good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I did.
Well, that sophomore season was also the last year for head coach Gene Bartow, but his
Yes, sir.
son Murray took over, as you mentioned, and you played your junior and senior years for him. What was that transition like personally and for the team?
It was okay. Like my freshman and sophomore year, Coach Bartow was there, and Coach Bartow was more laid back. And then I think he was laid back because he was in his older years, and he was probably on his way out, on his way to retirement at that time. I just remember those times when we would be at practice, and before we would start practice, most guys would get there early. You would go out on the floor, and you would just go to different baskets, shooting it and just warming up. And I remember when, Coach Bartow would go around before practice, and he would just call you over under the basket, up under the hoop, and he would just talk to you, just like, "Hey, how things going? How class is going? How your family going?" So I kind of remember that part of Coach Bartow. He just wanted to make sure and just check in that his players, are you guys okay? Is anything you want to talk about? Anything I can help you with? I
Mhm.
remember those times, but he was clean Gene. He was clean Gene. I mean, he was a good man, good man. I remember that about him. I mean, he meant what he said. Like when he said it, I mean, he meant it. But he was. I just remember him being a good guy. Then Coach Murray, uh, intense guy, very intense. But looking back on it, you have to, you have to understand that he was following in the footsteps of a legend,
Mhm.
of a Hall of Fame coach, his father. So it was a lot of pressure for Coach Murray at that time. It was a lot of pressure for him. So he felt the pressure to do well and to succeed because his last name is on the side of the building outside Bartow Arena. So it was his first head job. So he was very ambitious, very intense. But like I said, I learned so much from Coach Murray as far as the game of basketball. I did. My basketball IQ increased. And playing for him, you just had to have tough skin because he was a GA for Bobby Knight at the University of Indiana. So but the difference between the two, Coach Murray was young, he was ambitious, and he had a lot of pressure on him because he had to follow in fill some big shoes, fill his dad's shoes there.
Yeah.
But both of them were good people. They wanted the best for you outside of basketball, though I will say that. Both were competitive. But like I said, Coach Murray he had a lot of pressure on him, man. He first had job and he wanted to do well. Mhm.
Well, in your junior year, UAB had a pretty good season. You fell 3 points shy of making the Conference USA title game. Did make the NIT. What was it like playing in the postseason with that team?
Yeah, it was good. That's one thing that I always look back on, and I wish that I could have made it to the NCAA tournament because I hear everybody, talking about how exciting it is, and if you can make it to the dance, it's a good experience. I wasn't able to make it there, but I did make it to two NIT tournaments. And during that time, if you could just extend your season and play one more game or a couple more games, that was a good feeling.
Yeah.
So But it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling to be able to go and play. I think my junior year we had to go to TCU
Yep.
out in Texas and play, and we went out there. We didn't get the results that we wanted, but we did. We did. They were ready
Yeah.
that day. But like I said, I appreciate even getting the opportunity to extend my season.
Yeah.
My junior year.
Well, in your senior year, UAB played in the Great Alaska Shootout in non-conference play.
Yeah.
And over your time at UAB, you played in some tournaments or invitationals in Hawaii twice, Arizona, Miami, and your very first games at UAB were played in the Puerto Rico Shootout in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. What was it like playing in all these places?
Oh yeah. Basketball has taken me places that I probably never would have gone if I didn't play college basketball. Like you stated, we went to Hawaii a couple of times, Puerto Rico, Alaska, went out to California, different places playing in tournaments. It was exciting times. And when we were at these tournaments, we got to play against some powerhouses.
Mhm.
We played against UCLA at the Great Alaska Shootout. And they had some pros on their team. Had Baron Davis, I think Toby Bailey, some of those guys played. So we got a chance to travel, got a chance to see the world. So it was good. I had a
Mhm.
good time. But most importantly, though, we got to play against some powerhouse team. We played against University of Florida down in Miami
Mhm.
when they had Jason Williams played there at that time. In Hawaii, we got to play against some, good teams over there. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the travel. It was good, man. It was
Yeah.
good. Yes, sir.
Well, in that senior season, you became
Mhm.
the team's leading scorer. You kind of became you had to become the guy, and UAB got back to another 20-win season. You
Yeah.
had your best game as a Blazer in one of your final games. You had a 31-point game at Houston as UAB won 104-70. And UAB went back to the NIT and got a win over Missouri in the process. How do you look back? I know this is kind of a loaded question, but how do you look back on your time at UAB overall, and how do you hope you're remembered?
I want to go back to the 31-point game in
Yeah,
Houston.
go ahead.
Uh, I was thrown out of that game. I got ejected, and I think it was about 10 minutes left in the game,
Dang.
and yeah, at that time, and I recall Coach Kennedy, AK, was on the staff, and he was like, because he had the record at the time,
Mhm.
41 points. So when I got thrown out the game and I'm coming back over on the sideline, he was like, "Yep." He was like, "Bo," because they called me Bo at the time. He was like, "Bo, yep, you done for the day." I guess he thought I had a chance to get his record at that time, but yeah, I was ejected from that game. I kind of threw an elbow at a kid and it kind of hit him, up on the face. And doing that, and at that time, I got ejected. But just my time at UAB, as far as athletically basketball, what I want to be remembered for, I just want to be remembered for just being a good teammate first and foremost. Just being a person who got along with his teammates, was loyal to my teammates and to my coaching staff, and just had a good work ethic, man, and just improved each year. Looking back from when I came to UAB in '94 and to when I left out the door in '98, '99, just making sure that, I was a person of integrity, I was loyal, and I worked hard,
Mhm.
and just being a good teammate.
Well, after UAB, you played briefly in Europe, and
Yeah,
in my research, I found you mentioned it was short lived. It was a short lived
it was.
experience. You came back home. What was it like playing in Europe, and what led to your return?
Um, this is another crazy story. Coach Kennedy, UAB current coach, he had got me a deal with the team in Finland. I
Mm.
signed the contract to go to Finland, but me being young, not knowing the business, somebody else came to me like a week or two later and said, "Hey, this team in Croatia wanted me to come and try out. I fly over there to Croatia and try out for the team and make the team in that area. So being young and not know what's going on, I'm under two contracts and don't even know it,
Dang.
which is you can't do that. So
Mhm.
um and 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 I was able to get out of the contracts, but just looking back, just being young, not knowing how the business go, listening to some of the wrong people. Coach Kennedy actually had set me up and actually had put me in a good situation in Finland, but just being young, not knowing, kind of how to handle business at that time.
Gotcha.
But I was over in Europe and I got homesick and I just told them, hey, I want to go back home. Hopped on a plane, coming back to the United States. I don't know where what's my next step, what my next move. Didn't have a job. I ain't even have nowhere to live, I don't think, at that time coming back. But came back. I think I started working for a car dealership at that time in Bessemer, Alabama. It was some supporters of UAB basketball, the Camels. They had a place called Dixie Nissan. It was a car dealership. So I started, came back and I started working for them.
Okay. Well, after
Mm.
basketball, you just talked about it. You kind of have a thought that a lot of players have now, and it's just now what? You cover this in your book after the ball stops bouncing, and I want to come back to your book in a moment, but
Okay.
what were those years like and what made you take a new career path?
Yes. Um, it was a very I don't know, confusing stage that I went through at that point, just because like most athletes, we usually start playing sports at the age of 6, 7 years old, 8 years old. And
Mhm.
and if you're fortunate, you're able to go on and go to college. And some go on to play on that professional level, but most don't, like
Yeah.
myself. So at that point, you have to figure out, hey, what's my next step? And
Mhm.
that's where I was at. And that's kind of what that's what I had to encounter. I had to face that. I'm not playing basketball anymore. So what am I going to do now? So I went back and I did, I think like community service type nonprofit organization,
Mhm.
working with youth, things of that nature. And I was able to get a job in that area. But like you said, man, at first, you just kind of lost because that sport for me, basketball, that's all that I've ever known. So it's kind of hard making an adjustment. And some people don't do well in it, man. It can lead to depression and you can start questioning who you are as a person. And you just got to have some good support around you. And I will say this: I still could go back to the UAB basketball program, and those guys who were still around, like Coach Murry. I would still talk to him. AK. I was talk to Coach Kennedy. I would talk to Archie Johnson. I talked to Steve Mitchell,
Mhm.
UAB great.
Yeah.
So I could still reach out to those guys, and they would still try to offer me guidance and how try to find my way. But it's difficult. It's difficult. But I think the key to it is just having the support, people around who's willing to, kind of guide you in the right direction.
Well, so you earned your bachelor's degree from UAB in 1998 when you graduated, and since then you've been busy, Cedric. Man, you
Yeah.
added three
Yeah.
master's degrees and a degree in educational leadership from UAB as well. You have a career in education now. What's it been like being an educator?
It's been it's been challenging, but it's been
Mhm.
satisfying as well.
Mhm.
I just remember when I was a kid coming through, elementary school, Brantley Elementary, then going on to Dallas County High School. And I remember those teachers that helped me and that guided me along the way. And I oftentimes think back and be like, where would I have been or where would I be now if I didn't have those teachers that cared about me and that offered me guidance and mentoring me, you know, to make those make good decisions. And I talk about this in my book as well. Like my mom and my dad, they weren't educated people. At that time. My dad stopped school 7th, 8th grade. Mom finished, I think maybe went to 11th grade. So education wasn't like a big thing in my home. Now, I'm not saying that my parents, no, they weren't bad parents at all. It's just that they they didn't know the educational side of it, that it wasn't stressed in the home. They just wanted you to graduate high school and hey, go get you a good job, find you a job, you'll
Yeah.
be okay. But I just remember those teachers that I had coming through elementary school, high school, who stressed the importance of education and who mentored all of us who were coming, through Dallas County High School down in the Selma area, which is a part of the Black Belt,
Mm.
which is historically one of the, poorest areas in the state of Alabama. So those teachers and those adults, they knew the importance of education. So I think that's why I, really wanted to go and really get as much education as I could. But as far as like being in the field of education, it's challenging. It's challenging because a lot of the kids that we face now, they have a lot of they have a lot of problems at home. As
Mhm.
far as some of them, dealing with homelessness, some of them dealing with just unstable homes.
Yeah.
It could be any type of abuse that's going on in the home,
Mhm.
and then a lot of kids they're not prepared when they enter the school. So you have to, kind of teach them the proper way to behave in school, so to speak. And you have to teach them or show them that education is very important,
Yeah.
that you get this. So to me, that's the reward when you can give back and you can help kids become good students and just good people who will one day, be out in societies and they'll be these adults. So that's the rewarding thing for me as far as being in the field of education.
Well, going back to your book, you published it in May of 2025.
Yes, sir.
How long had that been in the works, and what made you want to write it?
I would say maybe 3 years ago when I was still at Clay Chalkwood Middle School. That's where I was teaching and working at that time. And I said, you know what? Maybe I need to write a book, just a little small book or something, just to kind of, just talk about, my life, where it all started for me, and then the things that I went through in my life that kind of shaped me and kind of made me who the person that I am today. And being able to overcome some of that adversity and controversy in my life
Mhm.
and to now be, at a good space. And I think that's very important to kind of share that story with people because you might have somebody who's going through that, somebody
Yeah.
who's probably going through a divorce, going through a job change, just different things of that nature. Might be a former athlete who probably like me, it probably at that time, probably, hey, they're not playing the sport anymore. Hey, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And hopefully this book, it can be an inspiration to people from all walks of life. Mm.
So it it's a loaded question again, but
Yes, sir.
how
Okay.
have your definitions of success and achievement changed since your playing days?
I think now it's just being able to see the kids, all the students that I've come in contact with over the years, when they see you and y'all, have that conversation or interaction with each other, they might say, "Hey, Mr. Dixon, I appreciate you. From when you told me this, you gave me this advice, or I appreciate you for not giving up on me or encouraging me." I think when you come across your former students or former athlete, because I did coach as well, when you when they come back to you or you run across them out just at the store somewhere
Mhm.
and they just say, "Hey, I appreciate you." I think that's the thing that makes it all worth it. All
Mhm.
makes it worthwhile. Yes, sir.
What other message would you give today's young athletes?
Just know that it's competitive now.
Mhm.
It's very competitive. Work at it. If you want it, go for it. Work hard. Dream. Nothing wrong with that. But still, at the end of the day, you got to have something to fall back on. You got to have a plan B. Sometimes you got to have a plan C. But I tell kids all the time, dream, man. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. You should dream because that's what keep you going and keep you getting up every day and chasing it. There's nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that you have a plan B
Yeah.
and just listen. Just listen to people that came before you who've been through these things that you're about to go through. And also keep family close. Make
Yeah.
sure you keep family close. You stay in touch with your family. You love on your family, and that that's it. Yeah.
So, how is life now, and how can my listeners
Mhm.
engage with you?
Yeah. Life is good now. I am an assistant principal right now at in Jefferson County Schools. Uh, I've been in education now over 20 years. I started out in Fayette County as a basketball coach there, health teacher, PE teacher. I stayed there for like 3 years. At the time, I had my son. He was young. I think he was like maybe 4 or 5. I wanted to get back to Birmingham, close here. So I came back to Birmingham in 2009. Started working at a middle school where I was a coach and a PE teacher. I did that for 15 years. In 2025, I took a job at Hoover High School
Mm.
as a special education teacher, and I stayed there 1 year, and I was able to come back into Jefferson County, and now I'm an administrator, assistant principal. But things are going okay for me right now. Um, I have, like I said, I got 2 kids. My son is 22, CJ. My daughter is 14, Kinsley, and just trying to, just spend as much time with them as I can. Just try to get them as much, guidance as I can, and try to guide them down the right road. So that's all I got going on with me right now. But life is good. Life is good. Hard work, because I'm still in the field of education. So that's challenging every day, and I think that keeps me going as well because I'm working in an elementary school. This is my first time ever being in an elementary school this school year. Uh, Kids love the little kids. They'll love you. Tell you they hug you every day. They say they love you. They hug on you all day, but you have to be full of energy to deal with elementary kids. So
Mhm.
they kind of keep me going. But um, yeah, that's it. Main thing is just trying to, just be a good role model for the youth and kids that's coming up. Um, I'm on social media sometimes, not much. But I do have a Facebook page. It's under Cedric Dixon. That's Dixon. I think that's the only. I'm on Instagram as well. Yeah, under Cedric Dixon as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Yes,
Cedric,
sir.
man, I've got 4 more questions for you. Just some
Okay.
quick, lighthearted questions. You kind of first thing
Okay.
that comes to mind, okay? And we'll wrap it up with
I
these. All
got you.
right, here we go.
Okay. All
So,
right.
your first question: you're still in the Birmingham area. What is one place from the old days? You were here in the mid '90s. What's one place from the old days that you wish was still around in the Magic City?
Is the Shoney still open? Because I know it used to be down. It used to be a Shoney's down on right around the corner from UAB,
Okay.
and we would go there and eat a lot of times. I wish Shoney's was still open down there.
Yeah, there's still some restaurants that from the I'm from Montgomery, but I came up to Birmingham all the time, so I wish. I mean, I knew some restaurants that I still wish were still around, like that Formaggio's right behind
Okay.
campus, and then there was the Waffle House that was right there on the corner of 65 and University Boulevard. I missed that one, but that's where the soccer
And the
field is
fish
now.
and the fish market. The fish market is still
Yeah,
open, but
yeah,
I remember the fish market when they was in this little small box, like right down in that
gotcha.
area. And the food is still good. The food is
Yeah,
still good, but I just remember the fish market when they was in this little small little blue building
hmm
because we would go there as the team and eat like after practice a lot of times. Yeah,
okay.
yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Which one of your former teammates was the wildest in the locker room?
Let me see the wildest in the locker room. That would probably be. It would have been. I think it probably would have been Carlos Williams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Los was a funny guy, man. He was a fun guy to be around. and he was fun. He was a funny guy to be around. It was, I would say, Carlos Williams or Norman Williams. We call him Smoke. Now Norman was funny as well, and yeah, it would have to be between Norman Williams and Carlos Williams.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, just to get to know you a little bit more personally, what are some of your favorite things to do in your free time?
Um, I like to travel. I go out of town. I go to New Orleans, Memphis, down in the Florida area. Also, I like going to the Barons, the Birmingham Barons games in
Hmm.
the summertime. I like just going down there. It's a good venue that they have right there in Birmingham.
Hmm.
The tickets are, reasonably priced. And it's pretty good baseball they play down there.
Yeah.
And also, I like going to Railroad Park out there. It's a nice little park. I go out there in the summertime, just walk around, just to get a little exercise in and just to clear my head. So those are two places that I like to do in Birmingham. Yeah.
Okay. And the last
Mhm.
question I got for you: if you could go back in time and bring a recent or slightly more recent UAB basketball player from the recent years to one of the squads in your era, who would you want?
I mean, I guess we probably have to say Yaxel, right?
I, I mean, he was a do-it-all guy. I mean, yeah,
He was,
yeah,
and he reminds me like of Carlos, like but Los was a little more athletic. Los was athletic, but they both were like double guys.
yeah.
And I hope I don't make the former players or anybody else mad by picking Yaxter. They probably gonna be like, "Oh, he picked it because he went to Michigan and won the
Uh-huh.
championship this year." Nah, it would be Yaxter. And then you got Jelly Walker was good. He was
Hmm.
exciting when he was here too. He was exciting guard
Yeah.
as well. So it would be one of those two, Yaxel or Jelly Walker. Yes, sir.
All right.
Mm,
Well, Cedric,
mhm.
man, I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun. Definitely great
Yes,
getting
sir.
to hear your story, and definitely appreciate all your hard work and all you're doing in education. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's a hard career, but I mean, honestly, we as a society, I really appreciate all the hard work that goes into all the education and all the hard work that educators do. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much for joining, and thank you for all your contributions as a Blazer. And thanks for stopping by for the conversation.
Yeah, and Will, thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me on and taking the time out to even, have me on your show, on your podcast today. I truly appreciate it. I really do.
Well, I appreciate you. Go Blazers.
Yes, sir. Go Blazer.
Okay. Special thanks to Cedric for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed getting to know him, and I hope you'll check out his book. You can get it on Amazon Kindle or in a paperback version. I'll provide the link on my social media posts to the book and on the episode details on streaming apps. And thanks to you for joining me for another episode of The Dragon's Den. Stay tuned for more episodes coming in my summer podcast series. I have another episode coming out next week. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and X for new episode announcements and more UAB related content. Just search the handle at Dragon's Den EFEL on those platforms and give me a follow. That's going to do it for episode 55. Thanks again for listening. Good night and go Blazers.